Ever seen a grown woman in a pink bathrobe, Crocs, and a ski mask tiptoeing through a cornfield at 2 a.m. with a bottle labeled Total Vegetation Killer? I have. And I've got it all on camera. That was the moment I realized my neighbor Linda wasn't just quirky, she was waging war. Too bad for her, she picked the wrong enemy. It all kicked off at the 4th of July community cookout. My family and I had spent weeks prepping grilling gear, patriotic banners, and a batch of sweet corn picked fresh from my field that morning. People couldn't get enough. Best corn I've ever tasted, one guy said, butter dripping down his chin. Then Linda sidled up, plastic wine cup in hand, her sun hat the size of a hubcap, and said, "You really shouldn't grow corn so close to the neighborhood. It drags down property values and attracts pests." I laughed, thinking it was a joke. It wasn't. She flashed a tight smile and wandered off. I brushed it off as her usual HOA drama, but that was her opening salvo. Linda was always over the top. A leaf on her lawn? HOA complaint. Someone parked too close to her driveway, even her own sister? Towing threats. She once measured a neighbor's Halloween decorations to ensure they didn't exceed the 18-inch inflatable limit. But targeting my corn? That crossed a line she didn't even know existed. A week later, I noticed something odd. The outer corn stalks were browning early, not just dry, but splotchy, sick-looking. I checked irrigation, soil moisture, even called my old army pal, now a botany professor. He said it looked like chemical damage. My gut screamed Linda. I didn't want to believe it, but then I found muddy footprint size 8, Linda size, leading from the road into my field. I'm not paranoid, but years of military intelligence taught me to trust patterns. So I set up a hidden trail cam in a birdhouse near the field's small lens, wide range, night view. I shone. My wife Sarah thought I was overreacting. If I'm wrong, we'll catch a raccoon, I told her. If I'm right, we've got a criminal. 3 nights later, jackpot. Linda in her bathrobe, Crocs, and ski mask, clutching a jug labeled Total Vegetation Killer. She sprayed the rows like a cartoon VY lane, darting out of sight whenever headlights passed. I watched the footage twice, torn between laughing and fuming. I sent it to Sheriff Mike, an old army buddy turned local lawman. He called within 5 minutes. "Bring that VY Deo to the station. We've got a case of horticultural homicide." The next morning, I rolled in with a thumb drive and a grudge. Mike watched, scratched his beard, and whistled. Caught red-handed. Who does she think she is, the weed whacker? I almost laughed. Almost. Then I remembered the stakes. This wasn't just any corn. I was part of a federal grant with the local university, testing drought-resistant hybrids for struggling farmers. Linda hadn't just trespassed, sabotaged research. Mike and I confronted her that afternoon. She answered the door in yoga pants, sipping something she called cucumber water, but reeked of cheap wine. When Mike asked if she'd been near my field, she blinked too much. "The cornfield? Oh no, I've been tending my herbs." Mike raised an eyebrow. "Herbs need industrial weed killer?" She faltered. "It's my organic blend, essential oils for pest control and crop aura." Crop aura? I stared. Mike held it together until we got back to his cruiser, then lost it laughing. "Video's not enough," he said. "She'll spin some gardening nonsense. We need more." I agreed. I dug out old surveillance gear, logbooks, maps, extra cameras from my shed. Linda wanted a turf war? I'd play chess while she played checkers. This wasn't just about corn, it was my land, my livelihood, and a stand against entitled HOA tyrants. The next day, Mike showed up at Linda's with the footage. She opened the door in those same Crocs, smug until he hit play. There she was, spraying my corn. "That's not me," she said, shameless. I nearly choked. Mike stayed cool. "Ma'am, that's your house, your robe, your Crocs, and your face, even under the mask." She scoffed. I was watering herbs. Maybe that's steam from my diffuser. Steam? At 2 a.m.? Then she flipped it, claimed I was harassing her. Even tried reporting me to the HOA for unauthorized surveillance on my own property. She handed Mike a crumpled HOA notice from the president, Tom, a spineless guy with the charisma of a wet sock. Mike laughed so hard he had to step off her porch. Tom called me that night, begging me not to escalate, saying Linda regretted any perceived wrongdoing. Perceived? I asked how much HOA power Linda held. He mumbled about bylaws and hung up. But Mike was right, we needed airtight proof. Then I remembered. This was federally funded corn. I had records, soil reports, a contract. Each stalk was a data point. Linda had messed with Uncle Sam. I called Dr. Patel, the grant's lead researcher. She arrived the next morning with a lab kit and a clipboard, inspecting the damage like a crime scene. After an hour, she lowered her sunglasses. Deliberate. Commercial herbicide, applied in patterns to maximize harm but hide intent. Whoever did this knew enough to be dangerous. I pointed at Linda's yard. Patel nodded. Hope she's got a lawyer. The fallout spread. 2 neighbors reported dead garden sown's pumpkin patch blackened overnight. Another's tomato shriveled. Both had seen Linda with her jug. They'd stayed quiet until now, but the video gave them courage. I mapped their reports, marking every mysterious crop failure. The pattern pointed straight to Linda's yard, a chemical battlefield. One night, new footage showed Linda with a stocky guy in a hoodie handing her a jug from his car. I zoomed in partial license plate. Mike traced it to a landscaping supplier. Linda had bought industrial herbicide, claiming it was for bamboo. No bamboo anywhere near her house. Mike's jaw tightened. This isn't just trespassing, it's felony territory. Linda doubled down, posting flyers accusing me of spying, even leaving one on my mailbox with "This isn't over" scrawled in red. Then came a twist. An anonymous note in my mailbox checked the HOA notes from March. Rezoning agenda. I dug into the online minutes. Buried under pool rules, there it was. Linda proposed aesthetic improvements and a tennis court and land including my field. This wasn't about corn. It was a land grab. Mike called the next morning. Ready to press charges? I glanced at Linda's smug garden gnome. Let's do it. Dr. Patel returned with students and a portable lab, confirming the sabotage scope. Mike filed a contamination report with the state and opened a case. Neighbors sent photos of Linda with her jug near their yards. Word spread. Gardeners, Patel, Mike, and I were all gunning for her. Then Jordan, a jittery ex-HOA intern, showed up with a folder. He'd copied documents Tom asked him to shred off record meeting notes with Linda and Tom planning chemical mitigation and rezoning. A proposal from Linda's brother's company, Green Turf Courts, showed a tennis court overlapping my land. Jordan whispered, I didn't sign up for this. Mike got a search warrant. Cops raided Linda's house in the HOA office, hauling out files and hard drives. Linda ranted about misogyny. Tom fled but surrendered days later when his accounts were frozen. Linda blamed Tom, claiming she didn't know what was in the jug despite buying it under a fake name. Her story crumbled. Patel gave good news. The damage was contained, the grant safe. I'd even speak at a conference about protecting AG projects. That night, Sarah showed me a meme of Linda's mugshot, conspiracy queen with the cornhusk crown. We laughed hard. The trial loomed and I couldn't wait. The courtroom was a circus, extra chairs, buzzing crowd. Linda sat rigid in beige, Tom sweating beside her. Charges piled up. Trespassing, property damage, conspiracy, misuse of HOA power. The video played. Linda in her get-up drawing stifled laughs. The judge quipped it's prejudicial because she did it dressed like that. Documents followed, emails, notes, the tennis court plan. Jordan testified about Linda's glee. Once that corn's dead, it'll all fall into place. Dr. Patel showed charts of chemical burns, calculated sabotage. Neighbors aired Linda's HOA reign of terror. Fines for beige mailboxes, threats over sunflowers. An audit revealed HOA funds funneled to Linda's brother's firm. Tom took a plea deal, ratting her out. Guilty on all counts. Linda stared, slack-jawed. She got restitution, probation, and 200 hours of superview. I said landscaping. Her brother's firm was banned from HOA deals. Outside locals cheered. Corn Lives Matter signs waved. A week later, I saw Linda weeding in a neon vest at the community garden, avoiding eye contact. Justice wasn't just the gave-lit, was her silence. The HOA reformed under Edna, a no-nonsense retiree who axed half the rules. Linda's social clout vanished. Her brother's business tanked. My field grew back, bigger, with a new greenhouse partly funded by an HOA settlement. At the Harvest Festival, I shared corn and stories. Linda handed out gardening flyers nearby, robotic, ignored but recognized. I built a scarecrow pink robe, Crocs jug, and a sign, I weed where I shouldn't, facing her house. The neighborhood loved it. Things settled. Gardens bloomed. People waved again. The corn thrived and so did I. Justice? Sometimes it's a field that grows back in a scarecrow reminding everyone not to mess with the wrong farmer.